Welcome to Preservation Oaks, the podcast where we invite you to step away from the bustle of everyday life. Settle in and relax, and take a moment to leave the familiar behind as we explore the hidden gems of America that preserve our cultural past. We call them our Preservation Oaks, and with each episode, we'll journey to a different corner of the country, where we'll discover the unique histories, landscapes, and communities that make up our nation. We'll visit with local museums, historical, and genealogical societies. They are the stewards of these stories. They preserve the legacy of each place like precious pieces of fabric in a quilt that binds the freedom-loving, hard-working people in this country together. So, slow down, grab a beverage, open your mind, and let us take you on a tour of the fascinating histories and heartfelt traditions that lie just beyond the horizon. This is Preservation Oaks, where every story is a stitch in the fabric of our shared culture. Now, join our host, Sean Radcliffe, as he uncovers another thread in the tapestry of America's heritage and what it takes to preserve it.
Welcome to Preservation Oaks, the podcast that celebrates America's museums, historical societies, genealogical organizations, and the people who keep our shared heritage alive. I'm your host, Sean Radcliffe, coming to you from sparkling Salt Lake City, Utah. And as always, it's an honor to have you with us. Today's episode gives us a window into one of the most iconic and authentically immersive heritage centers in the western United States, the American West Heritage Center, located in beautiful Wellsville, Utah at the base of the dramatic Wellsville Mountains. Covering 100 years of Western and Utah history from 1820 to 1920, the center brings mountain men, pioneers, homesteaders, farmers, and turn-of-the-century life to the public through hands-on experiences, working farms, historic structures, and vibrant living history programs. We're especially honored today to be joined by Karen Larson, the center's Education and Living History Manager who oversees school programs, living history interpretation, costume demonstrations, hands-on activities, and the guest experience across the center's historic exhibits, farm operations, and heritage events. Karen plays a pivotal role in shaping how students, families, and visitors experience the past, not as something locked behind glass, but as a living, breathing story they can step into. In this episode, Karen will share insights into how the center recreates life in the 1800s, what goes into a living history program, what surprises visitors the most, and why the American West Heritage Center remains a vital part of Utah's educational, cultural, and historical landscape. If you have questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, feel free to email us at preservationoaks@gmail.com. Preservation Oaks is available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Rumble, YouTube, Substack, and all major podcast directories. Please take a moment to like, follow, comment, or subscribe. We truly appreciate your support in helping us spotlight the organizations preserving America's heritage. Now let me tell you about what's coming up next on Preservation Oaks. In our upcoming episode, we'll be joined by Travis Bowley from the Oregon-California Trails Association, one of the leading organizations preserving the history and legacy of America's great emigrant trails. It's almost impossible for us to imagine today, but there was a time when this nation had no highways, no interstates, and often no reliable roads at all. Instead, hundreds of thousands of pioneers traveled along rough, hand-carved trails, paths, shaped by wagon wheels, footsteps, hooves, dust, and determination. These were the great overland routes that carried families, dreamers, and risk-takers westward. The Oregon-California Trails Association works tirelessly to protect these historic corridors by advancing research, education, preservation, public awareness, and collaborative stewardship. These are the very trails our ancestors followed, stretching from Iowa and Independence, Missouri, across the vast plains and rugged mountains of Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, and Nevada, all the way to Oregon and California and the waters of the Pacific. The journey was long, it was grueling, and for many it was deadly. But for those who made it, that crossing changed the course of generations. So if you're listening today and your ancestors made it across the continent, walking beside wagons, pulling handcarts, riding in stagecoaches, or guiding teams of oxen, then you won't want to miss our next episode. We'll explore the real stories behind the trails, the people who traveled them, and the dedicated organization working to preserve their memory for all of us. Stay tuned. Preservation Oaks continues the journey westward next time with a powerful and unforgettable conversation. All right, partners, this is episode 113 of the Preservation Oaks podcast. Now let's dig in our heels, strap on and cinch up our headphones, and join today's guest, Karen Larson, to journey back to Cache Valley's remarkable past with the American West Heritage Center. Welcome to the program, Karen.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today.
Karen, your living history programs include mountain men, pioneers, and turn-of-the-century life. Which one sparks the most curiosity among visitors?
That is a really good question. We have visitors that come from all over the world to visit the American West Heritage Center, and there is something here for everyone, whether it be the mountain men, the pioneers, or the heart of our center, which is the 1917 farm. There are hands-on activities at each of those locations that guests can enjoy and participate in. We have living history docents dressed in the time period clothing to help with those experiences and those activities. We do even have a few visitors that enjoy coming to see the historic tractor collection that we have as well. I think the biggest thing is that there is a memorable experience to had by everyone here. And those hands-on activities encourage the learning and the closeness that it builds with the group of people or their family that they're visiting the center with.
Well said. Thank you. For those of you who are listening and are not in Utah or near Wellsville, Wellsville is in Cache County, and that's the Cache Valley. That's Cache. And I want to ask you, Karen, Cache Valley hosts several large festivals throughout the year. Do any of these events tie into or inspire your work at the center?
Yes, they do. We have a tight-knit community here in Cache County, and supporting and coordinating with these other events that take place here in the valley are important to the center. One of the events that we have been partnering with lately has been the Cache County Fair, which happens in August. They have invited us to come and share the agricultural history of our valley with our guests as they visit the fair. They have felt like that throughout the last few years, agricultural heritage here in the valley is being forgotten, and our younger generations are just not as familiar with the agricultural industry and the heritage that we have here in this area. So Cache County Fair is a really great opportunity for you to come and visit us and see some of our amazing animal friends, participate in some of our demonstrations. You can come and milk the cow at the fair. It's amazing how many people have never milked a cow or even realize that you milk the cow before the milk makes it to the grocery store shelves. So it's a great educational opportunity. They're welcome to milk the cow here at the center as well. Another group that will be attending the Heritage Center this year through, partnering throughout with the community. The Utah Symphony will be here June 30th.
Oh, cool.
And this is a free concert to the public. What a great opportunity to come and sit on our beautiful grounds and see the spectacular view of the Wellsville Mountains that we have and enjoy a summer evening with the Utah Symphony, enjoying a family-friendly event and a beautiful outing to be had by everyone.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's really beautiful there. I encourage all listeners to go on your favorite map app and look at Wellsville, Utah, and especially the Heritage Center. We'll give you the contact information coming up, but it is really beautiful country.
It is. I've lived here in Cache Valley for most of my life and have taken for granted the spectacular views that we have. When I started working here at the Heritage Center, international guests would come through our main doors and see the Wellsville Mountains, and what a spectacular view. They were always commenting on how beautiful it was. And we have our herd of bison right there in front of the Wellsvilles, and it is a stunning view. And, it took me a moment, and I thought, we really do live in beautiful country here. And the sunsets have just been amazing these last few weeks.
When you and I were chatting earlier before we started recording, you inspired me because you talked about the county fair in Cache County. And I started wondering about county fairs in general. What were they for? When did they start? What's the history of those things? And so we're going to do a special episode on county fairs coming up here because we uncovered just a ton of history around county fairs. It's how people learned back in the 19th century and early 20th century. There wasn't the internet. And so people would congregate at county fairs, not only to try to find dates and to have fun, but to also learn everything they could about how other people are doing things and doing things right and how they could replicate that.
I love that idea. I grew up showing animals at the fair. I love the fair. Cache County Fair goes back to the early 1900s. It was a great way for local farmers to find the best of each breed and be able to incorporate that into their herds. And Sean, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Richmond, which is located in Cache County, the northern end, hosts Black and White Days, which has been a nationwide, the largest cattle show in the industry.
Very cool. I didn't know anything about this. Black and White Days?
Yes, it's a really fun event. People come from all over the United States to show their cattle at that event.
Well, that's very cool. Thank you for the information. I'll look them up. Now, I know Cache Valley winters can be intense, some years more than others. How does the Heritage Center adapt its programs for the colder months?
Yes, Cache Valley winters historically are known to be very cold, very snowy. It has been a little more mild this year than we are accustomed to. We do offer historical programming during the month of December. We call it our sleigh ride program. And guests are able to come and get on a horse-drawn wagon. The draft horses have the sleigh bells on it, so it brings the sound of a historical Christmas. They stop at our 1917 farmhouse where they get to smell Christmas in the farmhouse and enjoy a cookie. We have Santa's workshop. We also have a cocoa bar in the livery stable where there are other activities that are happening. Some of that event, of course, is outside, so guests are going to bundle up and come prepared for the elements. And other parts of that are indoors. So we try to adapt the best we can to the weather and try to educate and encourage guests to come prepared themselves before the event so they don't get here, the wind is blowing, it's cold, and they maybe don't have a coat with them or something like that.
Right.
This is also an opportunity to help educate that chores still have to be done on the farm, even when it's snowing, when it's cold. The animals still need to be fed, they need to be cared for, pens need to be cleaned. And this is an ongoing process. It doesn't just happen when we're open to the public, it happens every day. And many youth and maybe even some adults don't realize if it's snowing and cold, you don't just stay in and sit by the fire. You still have to bundle up and go out and take care of your animals and things that are happening on the farm during those winter months.
Absolutely. I grew up in Illinois, and many winters were 60 below zero with the wind.
Oh, boy.
And I would wear, my grandmother had a big old long coat in those days. It was probably from the 30s or 40s, but it was made of wool and it was really heavy. And I would throw that thing on and go out and feed the animals.
Oh my goodness. That's a fun memory.
Yeah. Now, Karen, can you tell us about memorable events or tales from Cache County or Wellsville that reflect its distinctive character? Just give people a sense of the place.
Sure. Well, Wellsville was the first permanent settlement here in Cache County. And Peter Mon brought a small group with him into this area. They settled in Wellsville and created Mon's Fort. And that helped encourage other pioneers to come into the area and to help establish this settlement here. And as time goes on, the agricultural history that we have here grows immensely. We had Utah Agricultural College, which is now Utah State University. And part of the history here that I like to share are the threshing bees that happened here in Cache Valley. Not all farmers owned the equipment that they needed to bring in the harvest in the fall with the wheat or the barley, whatever grain they were growing. And so they would hire out a local farmer and his crew to come and do the threshing for them. Oh. They would bring their crew. They would spend several days cutting and threshing the wheat, running it through the big equipment. And the women would be cooking to help feed the crew that was doing the threshing for these local farmers. That is a huge part of our history here in Cache Valley. And, the thresher was run by a steam engine on a big belt. It had to be a certain distance away from the engine so that the sparks from the firebox on the steam engine didn't catch the grain on fire. And there was quite an art that went into these threshing bees. And I just love sharing that part of Cache Valley with our visitors when they come through.
Yeah, fantastic story. Thank you. And I know farmers do that quite regularly, is work with other farmers to utilize their equipment or their talent or their time. It happens all the time.
It does, yes. Being from an agricultural background, we definitely rely on our neighbors and other local farmers to help one another, help each other. If a rainstorm is coming and we've got hay down, we're out there helping our neighbor get their hay in before that crop is ruined. And so that does create a tight-knit community.
Yep. Fantastic place, Wellsville, Utah. What is the story behind Wellsville's establishment, and which significant events have played a crucial role in its development?
With Peter Mon coming into the valley, his crew coming in and helping with the settlement. Now, I want to recognize also that the northwestern band of the Shoshone were here in this area, and would highly encourage you to reach out to that community if you have questions or need information regarding the northwestern band of Shoshone. They do play a partial role here at the Heritage Center, and we do collaborate with them. Each year on January 29th, they have a commemoration in just over the border in Idaho, still part of Cache Valley, where they commemorate the massacre that happened. And I would encourage listeners to dig in and study up on that massacre. It is the Bear River Massacre.
All right. Okay, we'll look that up. Thank you.
We also have a local person here just over the other side of the mountain from us, Darren Perry, that belongs to that band of Shoshone. He has written a book, and that is also a good read for you to become familiar with the group of people that were here during that time. The bison in this area played a significant role in the beginnings of Cache Valley, and we have been able to bring back a bison herd to be a part of that historical part of Wellsville here at the Heritage Center. As you come through the Welcome Center and out our back doors, you have a view of our bison herd and the Wellsville Mountains. During some of our special events, we offer bison tours. We put you on a tractor-pulled wagon and take you right into the enclosure with the bison. And it becomes a very educational piece to our history here in Wellsville.
What specific characteristics of the area you serve create challenges and opportunities in the context of preservation?
The weather plays a factor in our preservation here. With the cold winters and the warm summers, many of our buildings here are log cabins. Some of them are historical, some are replicas, but the weather does play a factor in the preservation of those buildings. Also, funding plays a part in our preservation, and we'll talk about that here a little bit more. Also, I've been thinking about this as well, and animals can create a problem for us in our preservation. We have rock chucks out here on the farm and other critters such as skunks and raccoons, and sometimes they like to wreak havoc. One example is our root cellar. They tend to dig holes into the root cellar through the sides, and so that can create problems for us as we go throughout the season. So there's constant repairs that need to be made and facelifts, as I like to put it, on our buildings and things.
And that takes money and donations.
Yes, it does.
Now, can you share some intriguing but often overlooked stories from the Cache Valley that your organization focuses on?
Yes, one of those stories would be the mountain men that were here in this area. It didn't occur to me that not everybody knows who the mountain men are. And just recently, we had some visitors here that were asking questions about them. And now, having gone to elementary school in Utah, 4th and 7th grade is Utah history. And so this was commonplace for me as I grew up in this area and learned about the mountain men that were here. There was Jim Bridger, Peter Skeen Ogden, and Meriwether Lewis. And so educating our guests about the mountain men and the rendezvous that took place out here in 1826 is a big part of our history here. Also, Cache, C-A-C-H-E, Cache County, come from the mountain men that were here in this area. As they trapped and traded their furs, they needed places to store them until the rendezvous happened. So they would dig a hole either in the side of the mountain or in the ground and use those holes for storage for their furs and goods that they had trapped and traded. Then they were able to go back and retrieve those items when it was rendezvous time. So it was like a bank for their goods. And 1826, the rendezvous was held here in Cache County. And so this will be a big year for us, being 2026, as we get to celebrate 200 years of the mountain men and the first rendezvous that took place here in Cache County.
Wow. 1826. Man, that was long before the area was really settled properly, right?
Yes, it was. Pioneers started coming into Cache Valley around 1857.
Wow. So there were some pretty hardy souls out there.
Yes, they were.
Now, Karen, what led to the establishment of the American West Heritage Center, and what formative experiences were pivotal in its early development?
Early in the days of Cache Valley and Utah State University, Ronald V. Jensen was a student and had the opportunity to purchase this property here. And the center originally was known as the Ronald V. Jensen Living Historical Center. And Utah State University had a program called the Festival of the American West. And I remember visiting that festival every summer up on campus, and I absolutely loved visiting the center there, or visiting the festival. There were Dutch oven cook-offs, there were old-fashioned games to be played. They recreated old towns. I remember going and visiting the dentist and seeing the old creepy tools and the dentist chair and the doctor's office. And they hosted people from all over and put on performances. And in 1995, the Festival of the American West and the Ronald V. Jensen Farm merged to form the American West Heritage Center, which is a nonprofit 501c3. And we are run by a board of directors. And that was the beginning of the American West Heritage Center. Eventually, the Festival of the American West faded away, and parts of the festival we still do here during the summertime. It's called Historical Adventures. And many of those things that took place during the Festival of the American West can still be experienced here during our historical adventures.
I know any time is good, but if I'm somewhere in the country or somewhere in the world and I'm planning a trip to Utah, And as part of my itinerary, what's the best time to come to the American West Heritage Center to experience a little bit of the frontier?
Sure. Definitely check our website as we move through the year. There are times when events are happening and we are open to the public, and other times when we are doing maintenance and farm work and not open to the public. But our summer months into the fall, basically April through October,
Okay. Cool.
is when we are open to the Heritage Center. And through those months, we offer different events.
Cool. Now, all
and
of those events
activities.
are on your website, right? So people
Yes,
can
they
see.
are.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I want to provide listeners with the contact information for the organization. The website is www.awhc, that's American West Heritage Center, awhc.org. Their address is 4025 South US 89-91, Wellsville, Utah 84339. You can phone them at 435-245-6050, and you can email them at heritagecenter@awhc.org. They're on Facebook if you look for American West Heritage Center. They're on Instagram at American West HC, and their mailing address is 4025 South Highway, 89-91, Wellsville, Utah 84339. That all sound right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, fantastic. How does the AWHC fulfill its role in the community, and what are the primary goals and demographic characteristics of your members?
Our main goal here at the Heritage Center is to provide educational hands-on experiences that will create lifelong lasting memories. I have had many opportunity to interview people for jobs here, and one of their comments always is, I remember coming on a field trip and milking the cow. And one gal that we hired, she still works with us today. She loved milking the cow so much that was her goal one day, to work at the Heritage Center and to teach people how to milk the cow. And by dang, she got to do it.
Oh, good.
So providing these hands-on experiences to our community is huge for us. When people make donations to our facility, we ask if these items are still in working condition, because more than likely we are going to be using them and teaching our guests how to use these particular items that are donated. It's not just a demonstration opportunity, it's an opportunity for our guests to try these experiences. My husband and I have had the opportunity to travel throughout the United States and visit highly renowned museums. And I keep coming back to the fact that the Heritage Center is so cool because our guests get to do the activities, they get to try them.
Yeah, the other thing is you have a beautiful facility there. I mean, absolutely beautiful.
We really do. It's an incredible, our Welcome Center is an incredible building and takes many people's breath away when they walk through those front doors.
So what does your membership look like? Is it like people all around the world, or is it mainly in Wellsville, Utah, or what's that look like?
Many members are local. We do have many guests that come from Idaho, Wyoming, Salt Lake County, Davis County. They support us throughout all the surrounding communities here. So members can live anywhere and come and visit. I just had a run-in with one of our volunteers recently here. I gave her a big hug. She comes and volunteers here when she visits. She is from back east, and so she lives back east the majority of the time. And when she comes to visit her family here in Utah, she comes to volunteer here at the Heritage Center.
Cool. What's the closest airport in that area?
Well, we do have a small airport right in Logan, but Salt Lake International Airport would be the big one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sitting here right in Salt Lake, and
okay,
Wellsville is something like 90 miles north of here.
It's not that far of a drive.
Yeah.
We here in Cache Valley always say it's quicker for Cache Valley to go to Salt Lake than it is for Salt Lake to come to Cache Valley.
Oh, is that right?
Sometimes people on the other side of the hill think we're too far away.
Oh, no, I don't think that at all. I'm going to go to your area at some point next summer and visit.
Awesome. We would love to see you here.
Now, how did your personal experiences shape your journey to your current role in the organization, and what motivated you along the way?
I love this question. This was my life. I started out in eastern Nevada. My dad ran a large cattle ranch, and he farmed with a team of horses and wagons. He grew up in a mining camp out in Nevada, where as a young boy, he drove the school bus to school. It was a one-room schoolhouse, and the school bus was a team of horses and a wagon. When he and my mother first married, they lived on this ranch where I started out life, and my mother cooked on the wood-burning stove. She fed 11 men 3 meals a day, baked 21 loaves of bread a week during haying season, did her laundry on the wringer washing machine, and I grew up learning all of this from my parents. When we moved to Utah, we continued with the agriculture. Of course, the farm downsized, and the community, the area was just a different environment from where we were out in Nevada. My dad continued his love of ranching and farming and instilled that in me. I grew up in the 4-H program, in the FFA program. I showed sheep at the fair. I showed horses. I'm a past rodeo queen. So all of this agricultural experience led me to the Heritage Center, where I have a passion and a love of sharing this with the guests as they come to the center. I have
Wonderful.
Pioneer Heritage, where I'm able to share stories of my pioneer ancestry. When we talk about making butter, or we make butter with the students here at the Heritage Center, I like to share the story of my great-grandmother coming across the plains. She would hang her bucket of cream on her wagon, and as that wagon rocked back and forth along the bumps and the rocks, it would churn that cream into butter for her. So really great family stories. And this, we encourage our guests to search their family history and learn these stories and share them with their children and grandchildren. This opens up an opportunity for families to come together.
What an amazing legacy you have. You were made for the Heritage Center.
I do have an amazing legacy. I didn't live
Wow.
that legacy. I live vicariously through a lot of those stories, but the work ethic was instilled in me. And I think that has helped me get to where I am today.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, you mentioned mountain men and the fact that there's a rendezvous that occurs at the Heritage Center.
Yes.
What elements of mountain men culture are represented at the center, and what surprises visitors most about their daily life?
Our Mountain Man Rendezvous is held in conjunction in the springtime with the first weekend of our Baby Animal Days event. And we have mountain men traders that come from all over the United States and bring their wares with them and set up trading tables. They have goods to sell, just as they would have back in the day of the original rendezvous. They also play mountain men games, and one of the favorites out here is to throw the tomahawks, to see who is the best at sticking their tomahawk in specific logs or hitting targets. Another one for the women is a frying pan toss, which is really fun. See how far you can toss your frying pan. But a permanent facility that we have here is a replica of a mountain man trader cabin. And inside that cabin, we have traps where our local mountain men talk to you about the trapping skills that it took and ways that they trapped the animals. We have furs for you to touch and feel. We have the brick tea, the coffee. Coffee was a big commodity that was traded among the mountain men. And lots of interesting items that mountain men are able to talk about with our guests when they come to visit.
Wow. You mentioned traps. You know, most people have never encountered or seen a trap these days.
That is true. Something that surprises our guests about the mountain men is the harsh lifestyle that they live. It wasn't easy being a mountain man, and there were a lot of dangers that they encountered along the way. The trapping is done in the fall when the thick coats are coming on. Beaver was one of the biggest animals that was trapped here in this area. And so the cold waters, other animals, and encountering other people along the way were some of the dangers that they encountered. Harsh winters, the cold setting in quickly on them. Many of the mountain men worked in teams. It was safer that way for them. And again, this lifestyle wasn't for everyone. I learned that a grown man made 50 cents a day, and a beaver pelt cost $2.50. So it took a man an entire week's wage to buy one beaver pelt.
Wow, just amazing. There's never enough time, Karen. I think we should take a break.
Sounds good to me.
All right, listeners, we'll be right back after this important message about visiting the American West Heritage Center in Wellsville, Utah. It's a place where history comes alive, rich traditions, hands-on experiences, and unforgettable stories await you. Make plans to visit. You'll be glad you did.
Have you ever wished you could step back in time? Not in your imagination, but with all five senses? To feel the warmth of a blacksmith's forge, hear the creak of wagon wheels, smell fresh-cut hay on a pioneer farm, or walk through the doorway of a turn-of-the-century home where every object has a story. In Utah's stunning Cache Valley, nestled against the towering Wellsville Mountains, the American West Heritage Center invites you to do exactly that. From 1820 to 1920, the stories of the American West come alive through hands-on experiences, costumed interpreters, working farms, heritage demonstrations, and immersive exhibits. This isn't history behind velvet ropes. This is history you can touch, taste, hear, and feel.
Meet mountain men who once trapped in these very valleys. Help with pioneer chores on an authentic working farm. Ride a wagon, visit historic structures, explore heritage trades, or discover how families lived, cooked, worked, and played more than a century ago. And for families, oh, you're in for a treat. Kids laugh, learn, climb, build, pet animals, plant seeds, throw ropes, and discover the joy of exploring the past in the most natural way through hands-on discovery. Each season brings something new. Spring blossoms during Baby Animal Days, Cache Valley's most beloved event. Summer brings festivals, history tours, and outdoor adventures. Autumn reveals harvest traditions and crisp mountain air. Winter offers peaceful landscapes and cozy educational programs.
The American West Heritage Center is located at 4025 South Highway 8991 in Wellsville, Utah. Plan your visit today at awhc.org. That's awhc.org, where history comes alive. Come experience the West as it truly was, and maybe discover a part of yourself in the journey.
I'd like to introduce you all to something new we're starting on Preservation Oaks. It's called the Genealogy Lab, and it's where curiosity meets discovery. Your host will be professional genealogist Diana Crispin Smith. a seasoned explorer of family histories, uncovering the stories that connect us across generations. In these segments, Diana opens the lab doors to share practical tips, fascinating finds, and the tools you need to bring your own family story to life. So grab your notebook. It's time to experiment with history, right here on the Genealogy Lab, a new Preservation Oaks feature segment. And here's the first mixture for you from the Genealogy Lab. We hope you enjoy it.
Have you ever encountered something in a document that just doesn't look right and wondered, wait, is that true? Maybe it's an age that doesn't match other records, or a birthplace that seems a little off, or a question from someone that you suddenly realize you can't answer. That tiny spark of curiosity is where real genealogy begins, but don't jump down one of those proverbial rabbit holes. You could be there forever. If you don't start with an objective, any road will or will not get you there. There's one productive step you need to take first in this situation. Create a research plan. Here's an example from my own family. I once found a city directory from the year I was born that listed 5 people living in my grandparents' tiny home. This house was barely 20 feet square. They raised my mother there, and even that felt crowded. So who were these extra people? My curiosity kicked in. I formed a clear research question. Why does the directory list 5 people in that household, and who were they? Next, I summarized what I already knew: the size of the house, the usual household members, and the fact that my parents lived in another town 25 miles away at the time. My initial hypothesis was simple. Maybe the city directory was wrong. But good research stays flexible, so I kept an open mind. Then I brainstormed sources. For this question, it was easy. Check the census for that year. Ask family members who might remember that period. In this case, I got my answer directly from my mother, and later confirmed it with my grandmother. Mom had just given birth, and her doctor insisted she avoid climbing the 2 flights of stairs to her apartment. So she, my father, and newborn me moved in with my grandparents temporarily. I understand it was 3 or 4 months. Mystery solved. I wrote up the story, included my citations, Mom and Grandma, and the city directory, and moved on. Other curiosities aren't so easy and may require a complicated research plan, but the structure of the plan is the same, and it turns random digging into real progress. Here are the essential parts of a good research plan. First, a clear research question. Remember, if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't know if you find it. Be specific on what you're searching for. Instead of learn about Grandma's household, ask, why were 5 people listed in Grandma's household in the city directory in my birth year? Summarize what you already know. This prevents wasted steps and guides you to where you go next. Third, define a hypothesis. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a reasonable starting point. It's easier to confirm or disprove a hypothesis than to start with nothing. Fourth, brainstorm the sources to check. Census, vital records, probate files, church records, newspapers, military files, and interviews, whatever might help with the question. Each research plan will be different. If it's not, you're doing something wrong. Fifth, a plan to track your results. And don't just ignore negative searches. If something isn't in a record where you expected it, that absence may provide a clue. Sometimes the anomaly might be the absence of information. No occupation, a missing spouse, fewer children than expected. Each of these anomalies piques your curiosity and deserves a research plan. You will never find that answer if you don't look. Create the plan when the question arises. So the question is there when you are ready to look. 6 months or 6 years from now, your future self will thank you. You may sometimes need to reframe the question as you research, correcting information you have now found to be in error, or adding new information or sources. If you haven't built a research plan before, here are some great resources. Family Search Wiki, including a research plan example from the International Institute of Genealogical Studies. Mastering Genealogical Proof by Thomas W. Jones, especially Chapter 3, Reasonably Exhaustive Search. The BCG Standards Manual by the Board for Certification of Genealogists. Cindy's List, that's at www.cindyslist.com. Remember that address. Research methodology, then look research plans for templates and how-to guides. Local societies, state archives, and historical societies. Often the best hands-on help. And here's a bonus. American Ancestors, formerly known as the New England Historic Genealogical Society, has a free, well-designed PDF research plan template at their website. So the next time you see something in a record that makes you pause, don't shrug it off and don't go wandering without a map. Write a research question, outline what you know, list your sources, and follow the trail with intention. Stay curious. This is Diana Christman-Smith, and we'll see you in the next lab as we explore organizing digital and paper files. Everybody needs this. Nobody loves it, but trust me, your future research self will thank you.
You've been inside the Genealogy Lab with Diana Christman-Smith, where every clue, every record, and every story brings us one step closer to knowing who we are. Stay curious and stay tuned for more from Preservation Oaks.
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm your host, Sean Radcliffe, and we're here today with Ms. Karen Larson, the Education and Living History Manager with the American West Heritage Center in Wellsville, Utah. A beautiful place. Check it out on your favorite map app. Karen, let's pick up where we left off. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Can you share some other noteworthy visitor experiences or testimonials that you think highlight the impact of your organization?
Yes, we have so many that will come back in after their experience out on our sites to these historic buildings, and their comments of bringing their family together, creating that connection, the multi-generational experiences here. Many grandparents bring their grandkids. They call it grandparent camp or grandma camp, and they bring their kids out here to show them what life was like for them when they were young. One story that has stuck with me specifically is from a friend that worked here, and she worked in our farmhouse, our 1917 farmhouse. And during the summer months, our staff and volunteers cook on the wood-burning stove and prepare a meal each day for our crew that works here. And there was a family that came into the kitchen of the farmhouse, and the grandmother just stopped right in front of the stove. And my friend said to her, "You look like you may have cooked on a wood-burning stove before. Can you tell me about your experience cooking on the stove?" And this grandmother opened up and started sharing stories with her children and grandchildren that they had never heard before. And that experience right there is what we are about. Sorry, I'm getting emotional about this. It is about creating that connection with the next generation. We talk about the warming unit on the top of the wood-burning stove and how many babies were saved by being put in the warming oven. And many people will say, "Oh my gosh, I've heard about this in my family history. My grandmother was put in one. And now I've seen it. I see how that would have worked and how that saved her life."
Absolutely.
And so these stories, these feelings that people share with us are very special to us. And again, we realize we are really neat here and we are really cool.
Yes, you are. And don't worry about getting emotional. I do that all the time.
Oh, good.
Hey,
These stories are very dear to my heart, and you know, the emotions come to the surface.
Karen, what exhibits are currently open to the public at the center, and what themes or stories do they explore?
Right now, our center is not open to the public. We are in preparation for Baby Animal Days, which is the kickoff for the new season for us, and that will be the first 2 weekends in April. We do have a preschool program, a storytime program that happens every Wednesday at 10:30. And that is a small educational piece for preschoolers to come and experience the farm here. We like to talk to them about some of the stories that happen here at the center. We have an activity for them and popcorn, which is everyone's favorite at the end of story time.
Absolutely.
We go until school starts in August, so mid-August. And then we're in preparation for our corn maze and haunted hollow season.
Oh, yeah. You also told me you give sleigh rides, right?
We do, yes. We just finished that up in December. We offer a vintage Christmas experience, an old-fashioned Christmas experience here at the farm. And it is just really a fun way to disconnect from technology and get back to the old-fashioned lifestyle on the farm and the Christmas season.
Now, Karen, you have several historic structures on the property, including pioneer cabins and farm buildings. Are these original buildings, or are they reconstructions or historically informed replicas?
Some of the buildings that we have here on our site are original from when the Wyatt family lived here. For example, the barn where we milk the cow is the original barn. And we do have the original farmhouse. However, that farmhouse has been updated and is where our caretaker lives. So we have brought in a 1917 farmhouse from a local community. It is an original, not original to the property. However, we are able to use that to interpret the time period. We have a pioneer cabin that was donated to us. It's from 1860. It's a Menden fort cabin. And also our summer kitchen is an original. And many of the other buildings that are here are replicas. And the plans for these buildings were taken from some early pioneer journals. For example, our dugout, the measurements and guidelines for that dugout were taken from Charles Nibley's journal, who was part of the Nibley family. And also we have the neighboring town of Nibley that is here in our community.
Oh, cool. Many visitors are fascinated by your turn-of-the-century house. What does this exhibit reveal about life around 1900 in Cache Valley?
I love the 1917 farmhouse. It takes me back to my childhood and many of the stories that I heard from my parents and siblings growing up in a home similar to that. This farmhouse has so many items in it, and every item has a story to tell. When you walk into the kitchen, we have the wood-burning stove, and like I mentioned, many people are fascinated by the warming oven on top of the stove that saved many people's lives. I like to tell the story of how my mother saved a litter of pigs from their farm in that warming oven on top of the stove.
Cool.
We talk about electricity coming to Cache County in 1911. There is one light bulb in the middle of the kitchen hanging from the ceiling. There is an adapter that can be placed into that light bulb, and toasters could be plugged into it, or the washing machine, the electric washing machine can be plugged into that. And so many different elements of that kitchen are represented there. We have a cabinet that's attached to the wall, and that was a sign that you were finished moving. You were not going to be moving on to a neighboring community. Your cabinet being attached to the wall meant that this was a permanent place of residence for you. You move into the parlor and there's a phone on the wall, and we like to show the kids the old-fashioned phone in there, how you had to crank the handle to get to an operator, and the operator would connect you to whoever you were calling. And as a kid, I remember picking up the telephone and listening to my neighbors as they talked to each other, the party lines that were there. We move into the parents' bedroom where there's a chamber pot under the bed, and that always fascinates the young and the young at heart. That's the pot placed under the bed, so you were able to use the bathroom in the middle of the night without having to go out to the outhouse.
Yeah.
So every item in that house has a story to tell and represents that time period so well. And again, so many people walk into that home and they say, oh my gosh, this is just like my grandmother's house. And so it brings back many memories for our visitors.
Does the center showcase parts of your collection outside the center's walls, such as in satellite locations or touring exhibitions?
Not specifically satellite locations. We do, again, like I said, we partner with the Cache County Fair. One item that we have here at the center that goes out into the community is called a traveling trunk. And that trunk has items in it from either our 1917 farm era, from the Mountain Man era, or from the Shoshone era. And these trunks can be checked out from the center, and they have hands-on items in them. What a great learning opportunity for students or for a young group of people, or even an assisted living community, anyone really, to get their hands on some of these items and be able to touch and feel and experience history the way that it was with our ancestors. So these trunks go out into the community and are a great teaching tool for anyone who would like to check them out.
That's wonderful that children and seniors get to touch the items in the trunks. That's great.
I remember things better by touching and doing rather than just listening. I'm a hands-on learner, and so I will remember better by doing some of these things rather than just listening to someone talk about it.
Right. Have there been any recent efforts to restore or conserve items in your collection, and what were the impact of that?
Yes, that seems to be an ongoing process, especially on a farm. There's so much upkeep. But with our historic buildings, we needed to replace our dugout. When dugouts were first built here in this area, they were meant to be temporary homes. And so structurally, they didn't last very long. However, this is a great opportunity for us to interpret and to share this part of Cache Valley with our guests. And so our dugout recently needed to be restored before it actually collapsed on itself. So now we have a beautifully restored dugout for our guests to visit. But like I say, that is always an ongoing process. And our farmhouse is in need of a facelift and constant repairs that need to be done, and the upkeep that it takes is definitely an ongoing process for any of our buildings that we have here.
Absolutely. Now, for people who don't know around the world, what is a dugout?
That is a really good question. A dugout was one of the first homes that was built here in Cache Valley. Typically, they were built on the side of a hill, and it is exactly as the name says, it was dug out of the ground. Now, it took less timber to build a dugout. They would dig the hole out of the ground, and then they would gather their timber that they needed to build just a small cover to go over that hole in the ground to protect them from the elements. So it's like a miniature cabin on top of a hole in the ground.
Oh, I got it. Sort of like an underground house.
Yes, it is. And it has a sod roof on it.
Very cool. Wow, those people were smart. No.
They were very smart.
Now, what is the most valuable ancient or popular exhibit or artifact in your collection?
I think one of the neatest items that we have in our collection is the 1911 Case steam engine. This was a steam engine here in the valley that was used during one of the threshing bees. It is run by building a fire inside the belly of the tractor. It takes a couple of hours of burning that fire to get enough steam built up to be able to use the tractor. And this is something that we like to showcase here at the center. In the fall, we have our Fall Harvest Festival, and we have been able to hook up that steam engine to the threshing machine and demonstrate that threshing process of how the grain went through the machine and the chaff and the heads were separated from the stems and the process that it took to be able to do that. Now, this steam engine is in need of a repair, just like many of our other things here, and there is a cost involved with getting the steam engine back into operational standards. So it is definitely a highlight of the Heritage Center and something that we do love to showcase here.
Yeah, fantastic. What people need to realize who are listening is we talk a lot today about AI and how AI is definitely going to revolutionize our world. But back in the day, these farm implements, these farm tools were the AI of the time because they had to do the job of humans. There were threshers and there were combines and, there were planters and fertilizers. All of these things had to work all of the time, every season, and they did a specific job.
Absolutely, they did. We do have many of those implements here at the Heritage Center that are still functioning for us. For example, before we do our threshing demonstration, we have a side sickle mower that we can hook up to a draft horse and go out and it cuts the wheat for us. We are able to then gather it and bring it in so that it is ready for the threshing demonstration. Another neat item that we have here is called a beaver slide, and I don't know how to describe this to you other than we hook it to the back of a flatbed wagon. That flatbed wagon is hooked to a team of horses, and they pull this through the cut hay. The hay is taken up onto the beaver slide. It's kind of got a little bit of an elevator in it, and it picks the hay up out of the field, and a worker stands on the back of the wagon and takes the hay that is being brought up off of the ground and puts it onto the wagon. And then that hay is able to be stored into the barn. So it's loose hay that is stored for feeding the animals. So we have some really neat implements here. We have people who know how to drive the teams and be able to work these. And again, during some of our events, we are able to demonstrate how these all functioned.
Yeah, that alone is worth the visit to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Beautiful stuff. Now, can you describe a few key artifacts or records that have been donated and how they contribute to the richness of your collection?
Well, this might be something a little bit different, but one of these things that I've been thinking about is some of our bison, and that might be something a little bit different donated to us than typically to other museums. But as I said, bison were a rich part of our early history here at the center. And we had a local friend who had a herd of bison. And the keep on the bison can be a little tricky. Bison can jump tall fences, and they're not easily herded when they get out of their pens. And so we were able to build a structurally sound enclosure for the bison, and this gentleman donated his bison to the center. And what an incredible opportunity we have to be able to show these beautiful animals to the public.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. How big is your collection? What's its size and diversity of items?
The Heritage Center here sits on nearly 300 acres. And so that's a lot of ground for our crew to take care of. Not only with the acreage that we have historic buildings, we have replicas of some of the historic buildings, equipment, farm animals. We also have a static museum inside our welcome center that we have art for people to come and view. And then also we have volunteer demonstrations. So many people in the community have a specific skill set that relate to the time period, and they come and will offer their skills to the public during our events and when it's open season for us.
I didn't realize it was 300 acres. That's quite large.
Yes, it is. That is a lot to care for.
You have bike trails through that?
We do not have bike trails. We do have a nature trail, however, that sits just south of our visitor center right here. So during the summertime, guests are welcome to wander down into the nature trail. We have a panning for gold area that's at the head of our nature trail. And then in the fall, during October, that trail is turned into the Haunted Hollow. And our haunted hollow is historically based. So for example, this last year, it was local legends and tales. And so our haunters down in that area researched some of the tales here in our area and used them to scare guests as they came through.
Now, what digital tools or programs are used by your organization to oversee and catalog your collection?
We collaborate with USU Special Collections. USU Collections helps take care of our records for the center here. We don't have a lot of updating with artifacts. So anything that is donated to the center right now is cataloged here, not
Perfect.
with any special software.
Oh, okay. So you're using a spreadsheet, Excel.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, not anything special.
Yeah, very cool. Now, Karen, what are some of the ways people can contribute through fundraising activities to help support your organization's goals?
One of the ways that people can donate is by going online to our website at awhc.org. And in the upper right-hand corner, we have a donate button. And that greatly benefits our ongoing projects and upkeep here at the center. And people may not realize, but helps support our animals by helping us purchase food for the animals and continue growing that food here to feed the animals. We also accept private donations from any member of the community or a family or a trust. We have corporate collaborations. They can donate and ear tag those donations for any specific project that we have going on. And also by attending and supporting our events. Being a nonprofit, each event that we hold throughout the year is a fundraiser for our center and helps us continue to keep our doors open throughout the year.
Absolutely. Now, what role does membership play in your organization's work, and what types of membership options are offered?
Memberships allow visitors the opportunity to continue coming back and visiting the Heritage Center. As I said, throughout the year, we offer different events and different activities, and so that allows them to attend free of charge with that membership purchase, and they can come as many times as they would like. They are also welcome to bring guests with them, and having that membership allows them to bring up to 6 guests at a discounted rate. We offer an individual membership. So if you're a college student and you want some place to come and hang out, there's an opportunity for you to have a membership there. Or a newly married couple, we have a duo membership. We also offer a gold family membership, which is 2 adults and 2 children. Or there's the platinum membership of 2 adults and all dependent children in the home. And also my favorite is the grandparent membership, because I'm a grandma, and that is for 4 adults and 8 children.
What does a membership typically cost for a year?
Okay, memberships run anywhere from $65 up to $160, and those memberships are good for the year, for a full year.
Okay, cool. Well, that's very cool, and you can find all that on the website under membership information.
Correct.
What annual gatherings or celebrations does your organization hold? You've mentioned several of them. Can you give us sort of a synopsis of a typical year?
Yes, of course. As I mentioned, Baby Animal Days is the kickoff to our season. It is Northern Utah's largest springtime event, and one that many families have made a tradition to come and see the baby animals every year. That is the first 2 weekends in April. That first weekend in April, we also have the Mountain Man Rendezvous in conjunction with Baby Animal Days. Now, Baby Animal Days is a great opportunity to come and get to hold or pet many of these farm animals. It's an educational tool as to how the farmer cares for these animals and what is the best way to interact with them. We also have the baby bears from Bear World in Rexburg, Idaho, that will be here that first weekend.
Oh, cool.
And then there will be animals from Utah Petting Zoo Gone Wild that will be with us the second weekend. So an opportunity to get up close and personal with many animals that you might not encounter otherwise. After baby animal days, we begin our field trips with elementary students and teach the students how to interact with the animals, the way the farmer cares for them, and how does he take care of them and what does he feed them. We jump into our historic field trips where students have the opportunity to either come and milk the cow, to throw tomahawks, or to pull hand carts just like the pioneers did. We then move into our summertime programming where we offer handcart treks for groups. We are open to the public on a daily basis, Tuesday through Saturday, for our historic adventures, with many of our hands-on activities happening daily. We also offer train and pony rides on those days. And moving into the fall, we have our Fall Harvest Festival, which is my favorite event throughout the year. I love bringing in the harvest in the fall and the opportunities and activities that we have to offer the public at that time. We hook up the threshing machine and demonstrate how that machine worked. We do candle dipping. We have cider pressing and corn shelling. As guests are helping us shell the corn, many may not realize that will be our chicken feed that will get us throughout the winter months.
Oh, cool.
So they truly are coming to help us do our chores on the farm.
Oh, fantastic.
During Fall Harvest Festival season, we also have our corn maze and our haunted hollow, as I have mentioned. And then preparations begin in November for our sleigh ride activities on the farm in December.
Gosh, Karen, you guys are busy all the time.
We are, and may I add, amongst all of those activities, we are also facilitating weddings, hosting corporate parties, family reunions, and any other combination of things you can think of might possibly be happening here at the center.
Do you rent out portions of the Welcome Center for events?
We, not necessarily the Welcome Center, but we have other buildings on our site, such as the livery stable and the Opera House. We also have an outdoor pavilion that we rent out.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's wonderful. If someone comes there, let's say late May or June, because that's sort of the warm period of the year, in Wellsville, Utah, what other things in the area can I see? I want to stop definitely at the American West Heritage Center, but are there other venues around the area?
Yes, there are. Cache Valley is full of industrious businesses. We have Gosner Foods, where you can stop and get some cheese curds and some boxed milk. It's shelf life milk, which comes in many different flavors and is really good. So Gosner's is always a favorite for people to stop and visit. Our beautiful campus at Utah State University has Aggie ice cream there, and that is always a local favorite for people to stop and get some ice cream up on our campus. There are many different hiking areas and beautiful scenery for you to explore the outdoors. Stokes Nature Center is right up at the beginning of Logan Canyon. And as you continue on up through Logan Canyon, many hiking areas. It's just a beautiful drive. Takes you on over into the beautiful Bear Lake area where you might even enjoy a raspberry shake.
Oh, yeah, Bear Lake is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Karen, if you have a newsletter, what kinds of topics and achievements do you typically share with the community?
Sure, we do offer a quarterly newsletter, and you can subscribe to that newsletter on our website. We talk about our upcoming events and the dates that those events will be held, specific activities that might be happening here at the Heritage Center. We might also throw out an opportunity for you to purchase advance tickets through that newsletter to some of our events. And we also like to talk about and recognize our volunteers here at the Heritage Center. That's a great way to get the word out to the community that we love to have volunteers here, and we recognize the effort that they take and the time that they sacrifice to come and support the Heritage Center.
Fantastic. Can you tell us about any annual awards your organization gives out and the achievements they celebrate?
Sure. In the fall, again, we like to recognize our volunteers, and we have a staff and volunteer dinner provided by our staff here at the center. We want to give back to those volunteers and those seasonal staff members that come to the center. They have the opportunity to earn a membership to the center and also an opportunity to earn entrance into some of our events for their family and those around them. So, it's just a fun evening of visiting with each other, building that bond and that friendship. And we always say that sitting around the table together brings everyone close together. Food has that ability to bring the closeness. And so we do like to recognize those volunteers. Man, we have some of the best volunteers in the community here, and they give hundreds of hours of service to the center.
Fantastic. Now, listeners, I'd like to once again provide you with the contact information for the organization. Their website is www.awhc.org. Their address is 4025 South US 89-91, Wellsville, Utah 84339. You can phone the center at 435-245-6050, and you can email them at heritagecenter@awhc.org. Find them on Facebook at American West Heritage Center and on Instagram at American West HC. Karen, it's time to take a break.
No problem. That will give me an opportunity to stretch my legs.
Hey everybody, we'll be right back after these important messages about becoming a member of the American West Heritage Center.
History is more than names and dates. It's the memory of communities, the echoes of families, the story of how the American West became what it is today. At the American West Heritage Center, preserving those stories isn't just a mission, it's a calling. And today, you can be part of it. When you become a member of the American West Heritage Center, you're not just supporting a museum, you're supporting living history. You're helping keep the pioneer farm running, helping maintain historic structures, supporting educational programs for thousands of school children, and ensuring that the stories of 1820 to 1920 remain alive for future generations. Membership comes with meaningful benefits too. Free general admission for an entire year, discounts on select events, exclusive member invitations, and the satisfaction of knowing your support preserves Utah's heritage.
Whether you live in Cache Valley, across Utah, or even across the nation, your membership makes a difference. Become a steward of the West. Become a guardian of its stories. Become a member today at awhc.org/membership-information. Join us and help the next generation experience the American West, not from a textbook, but through the adventure of living history.
There you are, in your doctor's waiting room again. Nothing to do but flip through an old magazine from 2014. But, are you just waiting for your doctor, or is she really your partner in preserving history? Unsung heroes volunteering at the local historical society, gearing up for fundraising extravaganzas. Ever spread the word about the Preservation Oaks podcast to your friends? Elevate your waiting game by listening to Preservation Oaks episodes, making every minute riveting. Tune in at preservationoaks.podbean.com, YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, or your favorite podcast platform. Unleash the power of history during your wait.
Susan, my dear, the moment I laid eyes on you, I knew. You were the one.
Oh! I don't know what to say.
It's true love, Susan. There's nothing to say.
Oh, Lim, you've come out of nowhere and swept me off my feet like a
blinking great episode of the Preservation Oaks podcast. Don't miss a moment of Season 5. And if you're headed into history or genealogy land, keep the past between your toes, stay safe, and always listen with a cup of tea.
Visit preservationoaks.podbean.com or wherever you grab your favorite podcasts.
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm your host, Sean Radcliffe, and we're here today with Ms. Karen Larson, the Education and Living History Manager with the American West Heritage Center in Wellsville, Utah. Karen, we're all learning a lot about Cache Valley and its history. Let's crack on and learn some more. Welcome back.
Thank you for the break. I'm feeling refreshed and ready to dive back in.
Yep, many hands make light work.
Yes, it does.
How can community members participate as volunteers, and what types of roles or projects are open to them?
Oh, there's so many opportunities to volunteer here at the center. One of the big ways is to become a docent and to dress in the time period clothing and interact with our guests as they tour the different historical sites that we have here. And I know that's probably not for everyone, and it is a time commitment. Sometimes you just want to come and maybe pull weeds, and we love that. We love a group of people that will want to come and provide service to us, a one-time opportunity to come and provide that service. We do have behind-the-scenes opportunities for service here. As I said, there's a lot of upkeep and facelift that goes on throughout the year behind the scenes. We have a retired plumber who volunteers here, so he's able to help us with any plumbing needs that we might have. He's a great hand and very talented, and so he's able to do a lot of maybe the fencing repairs for us or any of the sprinklers in the yard that might need to be repaired. We have another gentleman that we affectionately call him Farmer Wayne, and I don't know how many thousands of guests he's milked the cow with, but he is just a phenomenal gentleman, has recruited many volunteers here, and he is our in-house cow milker. Even if he can't physically milk the cow anymore, he's got his great-grandson out here helping, and he is able to interact with the guests. So any behind the scenes, if you have farm work experience or welding or anything like that, sometimes it's just a one and done. We do have groups that will come and provide community service to us. And Service is one of the big groups here in the Valley, and they are so good to help us during our events when we maybe just need somebody to take tickets at the gate or to watch a door to one of the animal pens so the animals don't get out as guests are interacting with those animals. Maybe driving the train for us. We have a quarter scale diesel engine train.
Oh, cool.
And if there's any train buffs out there and they want to come and drive the train, give us a holler. We're happy to put you to work wherever your talents and skills lie.
Well, you just keep peeling that onion. It is amazing the things you have there.
There are very many layers.
Wow. Now, you mentioned the other venues in the area so people can visit and stay in the area for a while. How does your organization connect and collaborate with similar institutions around the area or the state or the national level?
Sure. Our local visitors bureau plays a big role in reaching out and connecting with some of these other organizations or even other communities. We greatly appreciate how much they share about the Heritage Center with the community. We are one of the highlights for them. We also belong to the Utah Museum Association and are able to collaborate with other museums throughout the state of Utah, or possibly even in other states. And just being able to connect with other local museums that are here. We have the Daughters of the Utah Pioneer Museum, and I know there's small museums in each of our local communities. Hiram Museum is another one here that's close to us, and we're able to collaborate with them on a regular basis.
I'm going to be out there next summer, no doubt about it.
Oh, we're excited to have you come and visit.
You betcha I will. Karen, I'd like you to talk just a moment about your website. It's a wonderful website, really beautiful. What kinds of information and resources can visitors find on your website?
Thank you. Yes, we have worked long and hard hours on updating our website. The biggest thing that you will find on our website are the upcoming events that will be happening and the specific dates for our events. There's also the donation button on our website if anyone would like to donate to a specific cause here at the Heritage Center. There's an application for memberships or to become a volunteer. There is also a seek and find page on there that you can either print out, or we will have some here at our center. When you come during our historic adventures, there's little pictures of objects for you to find as you're walking about and around the farm area. It might not be the full picture of the item. It might just be a portion of it. It helps you search for more artifacts and items that we would like you to see as you are visiting each of the different historical buildings that are here on our site.
Ooh, kind of like a scavenger hunt.
It is a scavenger hunt, yes.
Yeah, very cool. Karen, what specific efforts or needs does your organization currently have that community members can contribute to or engage with?
Well, I am really excited to announce that we are in the works of getting a new building here at the Heritage Center. It will sit just north of our main building of the Welcome Center, and it will be called the Tractor Barn. It will be a venue where we are able to host larger groups than what we are able to do right now. But along the outside of the building will be an overhang where historic tractors will be displayed and viewed. And this is something we're really excited about and would welcome any donations to the progress of this building. We also, like I said, there's constant facelifts that need to take place here at the center. We're always revamping, redoing. You can donate to any of our animals here at the farm. Lots of needs here. As a nonprofit, we love donations and welcome any that come our way.
Fantastic. You're doing fantastic work. So, folks, you know it's going to a good cause. And I hope you all visit the American West Heritage Center in Wellsville, Utah. Make a visit, become a member, support them. Karen, what approaches do you believe would effectively inspire today's youth to appreciate history and contribute to their communities?
I think the hands-on learning is the biggest part of what we do here. Like I said, I'm a hands-on learner. You can tell me the instructions, and I'm not going to get it until I actually get my hands on it and I'm able to do it. So that hands-on learning, especially for our youth these days, I think is so crucial to connecting with the heritage, connecting with the past, and learning. I have been thinking about this, and one of the activities that we offer on our Pioneer site is a game called Graces. Each person has 2 dowel sticks, and between 2 or 3 people, there is 1 hoop. It's a wooden hoop. You put it on your sticks, and by pulling your sticks apart from each other, that hoop shoots off the end of the sticks, and your partner is supposed to try and catch that hoop. And I cannot tell you how much fun people have with that game. They want to know how to make it. Where can I get one? How much fun they've had. And again, it just is disconnecting them from technology and getting them out into the open. And kids absolutely love these games that we have here, especially that Graces. It's helping people connect with their roots and bonding them to their families. and learning more about those family history stories that they share with each other. So the hands-on part of it, I think, is a big part of the educational tool here at the center.
Well said. Now, can you share some of the unique ways your organization benefits the community and explain why these contributions matter?
Sure. Another thing that we are doing here at the Heritage Center is we are working with assisted living groups and being able to provide tactile activities. As we age, sometimes people will lose their eyesight, and so providing these hands-on activities in the springtime, if they come, we'll show them the animals. They get to pet them and are educated on how to hold them and interact with these animals. We also have the schools of deaf and blind that will come and bring their students for these tactile activities, any special needs groups. We also work with a group here in Cache Valley called Options for Independence. And this is a group for adults that might be losing their eyesight as well. Just recently, we hosted them and provided some activities for them they want a tactile activity. And she asked if we could provide an activity on food. And I thought, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this? I'm not a cook and I don't know a whole lot about food. But then we got to thinking about it and we went with animal feed. What are all the different types of feed that we provide here on our farm for guests to learn about? And so we brought in bins of all of our animal feed and we're able to pass that around and educate them on the different types, how it was grown, how they harvest it, and we store it and are then able to feed it to our animals. So we are able to adapt and provide different activities for different groups that come through our doors.
Wow, very cool. Now, how does your organization measure the impact you have on visitors in the community? Do you use some form of management or metrics framework?
Not anything very technical. The way we measure the impact are by the amount of visitors that we see each year, the positive feedback that we get from social media, and even the personal comments that we receive from our guests are mostly how we measure that impact.
Yeah, that makes it all worth it, huh?
It sure does.
Yeah. Karen, I'm going to come and see your bison next summer. I'm really grateful for your time and your insights, and it's been fascinating to hear about the dedication and heart you put into serving your members and the community. Meeting you has been a real highlight. May your 2026 be filled with meaningful stories, generous collaborators, steady health, and the quiet satisfaction that comes from preserving things that matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share the Heritage Center with you. I look forward to meeting you in person and sharing our awesome facility with you.
Thank you, Karen. And with that, we'll end our time with our guest, Karen Larson from the American West Heritage Center. Listeners, please stay tuned for my comments and wrap-up, which is coming up next. And I'm back. As we bring this episode of Preservation Oaks to a close, I want to take a moment, really a well-earned moment, to reflect on what we've just experienced together. Today's conversation took us deep into the heart of Cache County, Utah, and into one of the most immersive, authentic, and genuinely human heritage sites anywhere in the American West, the American West Heritage Center, located in Wellsville, Utah. Our guest for this episode was Ms. Karen Larson, Education and Living History Manager at the center. And I can't say this strongly enough. Karen is one of those rare individuals who doesn't just work in history, she lives it, understands it, and communicates it with clarity, humility, and heartfelt purpose. Karen's dedicated, qualified, and deeply knowledgeable and exceptionally capable. Throughout our conversation, she shared stories not only about the land, the building, and the animals, but about people, about families, about memory, about work ethic, about community, about how history is not something that sits quietly behind glass, but something that is smelled, touched, heard, cooked over, and passed down. And I'll say this, I didn't discuss this with Karen during the interview, but if anybody from the local Chamber of Commerce or Tourism Board is listening, heads up. Karen Larson would make a remarkable spokesperson for Cache Valley and the Wellsville area. Her ability to connect history, place, and people is exactly what draws visitors in and makes them want to stay a while. One of the most powerful moments in our conversation came when Karen spoke about the 1917 farmhouse kitchen and the fact that it's not a staged exhibit frozen in time. The staff actually uses the wood-burning stove there to prepare meals. That detail may sound small, but it says everything. This is a place where history is practiced, not just preserved. Where a grandmother pauses in front of a stove and suddenly remembers stories she's never told her grandchildren, and then tells them. That's not reenactment, that's connection. We also heard about the Traveling Trunks, a truly inspired outreach program that brings history beyond the boundaries of the center. These trunks, filled with authentic artifacts from different eras, travel into classrooms, senior centers, and assisted living communities. Students and seniors alike are invited to open them, touch the objects, examine them, and talk about them. For many, especially those with visual or hearing impairments or memory loss, this tactile experience becomes a powerful bridge to learning and remembrance. The accomplishments of the American West Heritage Center are nothing short of extraordinary. Sitting on nearly 300 acres, this is a working farm and park-like landscape, not just a museum. Crops are grown and harvested to feed the animals. Horses, real working horses, pull historic farm equipment and winter sleighs. And I'll admit, in my own mind's eye, I can clearly see a powerful team of massive percherons leaning into a harness, moving in rhythm across a field. That image alone is worth the visit. The center is also an expansive outdoor museum featuring numerous historical structures, pioneer cabins, dugouts, farm buildings, alongside a state-of-the-art welcome center that is both beautiful and thoughtfully designed. And beyond the buildings, the sheer volume of programming is staggering. Baby animal days, mountain man rendezvous, school field trips, summer historic adventures, fall harvest festivals, corn mazes, haunted hollow events, sleigh rides, educational workshops, concerts, weddings, and community gatherings. It is quite honestly history in motion all year long. Karen also shared an exciting announcement during our conversation. The center is preparing to build a new facility called the Tractor Barn. This will be a larger venue for public gatherings and a dedicated space to house and display historic farm equipment. It's a major step forward, and one that will directly benefit visitors, staff, and preservation efforts. Karen made it clear that donations toward the Tractor Barn are very welcome, and I wholeheartedly echo that call. Like all living history institutions, the American West Heritage Center depends on community support to keep doing what it does so well. Ongoing maintenance of historic buildings is a constant need, The Case steam tractor, a remarkable and rare piece of agricultural history, requires repair. The animals need feed. They need veterinary care. And the center always needs volunteers, people willing to lend their hands, their skills, and their time to sustain daily operations and special events. If you've ever wondered whether your donation, your volunteer hours, or your membership will truly make a difference, this is one of those places where the answer is a resounding yes. So if today's episode sparked something in you, curiosity, nostalgia, gratitude, or a desire to reconnect with the roots of American life, I encourage you to learn more, visit, support, and share this remarkable institution. Here's how you can connect with the American West Heritage Center. Their website is www.awhc.org. You can phone them at 435-245-6050. Their email is heritagecenter@awhc.org. Their address is 4025 South Highway 89-91, Wellsville, Utah 84339. You can find them on Facebook at the American West Heritage Center and on Instagram at American West HC. And as always, I encourage you to explore their website for upcoming events, membership opportunities, and ways to contribute. Karen Larson, thank you once again for your time, your insight, and your dedication. And to the entire team, staff, volunteers, and supporters at the American West Heritage Center, thank you all for preserving and passing on not just buildings and artifacts, but the lived experience of the American West. All right, if questions occur to you and you'd like more information, please connect with the American West Heritage Center via the contact information just provided. If you're a listener in the area the organization serves and you're not already a member, please consider joining and supporting them. As we stand on the edge of a new year, 2026, it's worth pausing for a brief moment of perspective. We often say that this year marks 2026 years since the birth of Jesus Christ. And culturally, traditionally, that's how our calendar is meant to work. But history, as it so often does, adds a layer of complexity. Most modern historians believe that Jesus was likely born a few years earlier, somewhere around 4 to 6 years before what we now call year 1. The calendar system we use today was created centuries later with limited records, and it even skips something we take for granted. There is no year 0. So here we are, living in a year whose number is both symbolic and slightly imprecise. And I think that's fitting, because history isn't just about perfect dates or tidy timelines. It's about how generations before us tried to make sense of the world, to mark time, to anchor meaning to events that mattered deeply to them and still matter to us today. As we begin 2026, we do so not just counting years, but carrying memory forward. And that, in many ways, is what preservation is all about. The American West Heritage Center is truly one of our preservation oaks. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode. Music used today is from Cymbalbird, Premium Beat, Eaton Epp, Rems Tunes, and Scott Holmes. Hey, this is Sean Radcliffe. See you all next time on Preservation Oaks. And until then, keep on giving and keep on living the good life.
MicroStream Radio is a registered trademark. You can visit at www.microstreamradio.com. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted by MicroStream Radio. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, reproduced, copied, or used anywhere without the written permission of MicroStream Radio. Preservation Oaks starring Sean Radcliffe originates in Salt Lake City, Utah. Be sure to join us for our next episode on your favorite podcast platform. This is Matthew Adams speaking. Preservation Oaks has come to you through the worldwide podcast platform Podbean, and our home is preservationoaks.podbean.com. Hopefully you found today's episode useful, informative, and thought-provoking. If so, please follow, comment, or subscribe. Remember that being free means being free to be curious.
and that historical and genealogical societies and museums allow us to discover the past, be free to explore where curiosity opens every door. Thanks to everyone for listening. Stay cozy, curious, and keep exploring the incredible stories that shape our world. Remember to cherish and support the preservation of history in your own communities. The content of this program is provided for educational and informational purposes only. Some material included in this program may be copyrighted by third parties. However, under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act, the doctrine of fair use allows the limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holders when used for purposes such as education, criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. These uses are legally permitted even if they might otherwise constitute infringement. If you wish to use copyrighted material from this program for purposes beyond fair use, you must obtain permission from the copyright owner. If you believe your copyrighted material has been used in this program in a way that does not qualify as fair use, please contact us at Preservation Oaks at gmail.com. Thank you.